Hey friends, what's up? Philip here, and I have one question. Is there hope for the American Express coupon book business model? And one card in particular, the American Express Gold Card, kind of is giving me a little bit of hope. Let's get into it. So the top lines here are that the current situation is that American Express relies on cards with relatively higher annual fees, but credits so users can get value back, right? This encourages spend, which makes American Express money because, well, they get interchange fees and a lot of other things. And now the problem is that these types of coupons, and we'll call them coupons for the time being, they're also the credits, things like that. They can vary greatly. There are some that are easier to get value from, and some that are a lot harder to get value from. So let's get into what's going on and why do I have hope for the future of this. So first of all, American Express is pretty much intends to continue to actually build these cars with greater annual fees, more credits, things like that. But there is one credit that was recently added to the American Express Gold Card. Well, that gives me a little bit of hope, and that's actually surprisingly going to be the Dunkin credit. Now, before you go away and before you go to the comment section, hear me out. So the Dunkin credit is $84 in value, $7 a month. And it's for any Dunkin related purchase. And so you can buy coffee with it, you can buy donuts with it, you can even buy breakfast sandwiches with it, things like that. I think chocolate milk, orange juice is there as well. There's a lot of different options. Now, this is an interesting credit in that it's one of the rare credits that American Express uses where it's actually in the terms and conditions that you can actually store value with this credit. So if you don't go to Dunkin' Donuts this month, there's a way that you can actually add that $7 to a gift card. And that allows you to kind of store up that value and use it down the road whenever you actually do visit a Dunkin' location. And well, that's kind of unique. So basically, you actually at the start of every month, when I did have the gold card and when I get it again, I just loaded $10 on the gift card for Dunkin'. And as long as I went to Dunkin' at least once per year, I was able to get that value. And so that's kind of nice. And so the Dunkin' credit also kind of extends into a kind of a strategy that I've noticed with American Express. So first of all, let's take a look at the Walmart Plus credit on the American Express Platinum card and on the American Express Business Gold card, as well as the Dunkin' credit on the Personal Gold card. So both of these companies are companies that have announced pretty significantly in their financial reports and things like that, that they're targeting the upper scale of the market. And the reason why they're doing that is because, well, more people shop and spend a lot of money. And, well, Walmart and Dunkin' Donuts would rather have those kinds of shoppers. Now, one thing that's kind of becoming more clear is that whenever a company is targeting the upper scale of the market, well, the play is to pay American Express a bunch of money and you get some of those customers. And so Walmart Plus, for instance, is having a lot of value. And now it's not ranked at 100. I don't rank it at $155 worth of value because, well, you can pay for the annual plan for $98 if you're interested in Walmart Plus. Plus, they actually do run decent sales or promotions or Amex offers that can cut that in half. But the truth of the fact of the matter is that this credit makes it, the Walmart Plus credit, makes it a lot easier for people to get value from this car or from those cars that offer it. But the Dunkin' credit is unique because the Dunkin' Donuts is trying to go more up market, but they're also giving people a way to store that value, which is a little bit more expensive because I'd imagine the acceptance rate on Dunkin' credits is a little bit higher, at least than the Walmart Plus credit is. But if that's what Dunkin' wants, then yeah, like more people are going to go to Dunkin' over Starbucks because, well, once a month I get a free coffee and a free donut, right? So let's take a look at why we need hope now. So let's take a look at the other gold card benefits in particular. So this card has a $325 annual fee, the personal gold, and it comes with a number of other credits. So it comes with $120 in Uber credits. Now, currently, this is Uber Cash that's deposited to your account. So you get $10 in Uber Cash deposited to your Uber account once a month, and that usually happens on the first of the month. And it's only usable for that one month, right? So you can't store that value from month to month. And so it's kind of a little bit less value, but you can use Uber Eats with this as well as Uber purchases. And so Uber Eats has a lot of different partners that offer pickup services for zero cost. However, if you're someone who normally gets delivery from one of those services for once or twice a month or more, well, then you're getting value based off of something that you've already spent. So I do like to say, like, if you do pick up, you're definitely getting a lot more of that value. But it's also important to note that if you already are using delivery services, well, you don't really have to work that hard. Like, you don't think you have to do pickup in order to get the full value of that card. If it's saving you money on something you would have already spent, then yeah, it's saving you money. Now let's take a look at the next credit. So the next credit is going to be a $120 dining credit. Now this is also $10 a month, and it's available at Cheesecake Factory, Goldbelly, Five Guys, Wine.com, and Grubhub. Now, for the vast majority of the time, I've used this as a Grubhub credit. And that's usually because they also offer pickup services, a lot of the same places that Uber Eats does. And a lot of those places happen to be next to my office on my day job in downtown Orlando. And so, that's usually kind of the most used case. I have used it at Goldbelly to save money on a cake for Thanksgiving one year. But I don't really use it that much. And Five Guys is not really something that I do normally, especially, now that I'm on my weight loss journey. And so not going to do that. Cheesecake Factory, same kind of thing. You got to go either, across town or to the tourist area to go to the Cheesecake Factory. And that's not something I'm really interested in doing. So that's important to note as well. Now, you also get $100 in Resi credit. And so this one's fun because it's $50 every 6 months. And so all you have to do is go to a restaurant that appears on the Resi website or app, and then use your American Express Gold card, and then you get $50 credited to you twice per year. And so that's pretty easy to use. You don't even have to make a reservation for that restaurant, which is quite nice. Now let's take a look at these credits together. So these credits make the American Express Gold card to be the card when you want to eat food. As John Lang used to say, if you eat food, you need this card. And that's true. And if you want this card, well, you can get it too. Just go down to the link in the comment or in the description. So these make a coherent argument for being the dining card. It's quite obvious that this is what American Express wants to do with this card. In fact, American Express CEO actually just said in the most recent earnings call that this is the dining card. And we can talk about that label in another video. So now let's talk about who is a targeted user of this card, and how you're able to get that value. So first of all, you need to have someone who lives in a decent sized city. And so the reason why is because, well, the Resi credit needs kind of a decent sized city. I live in Orlando. We have a couple different good options for Resi. It's not as much, but there's probably like 50 restaurants in there around the city that are available for that credit. But you also kind of need more of an East Coast city. And the reason why is because the Dunkin credit will favor mostly Eastern Coast cities. And so basically the targeted user for the American Express Gold card is someone at least who lives on the East Coast, moderately sized city that eats out a decent number of times each month and is going to benefit from those multipliers. So that's kind of a coherent card. Now, let's talk about some credits that are a lot worse. And so the worst offenders here, I think, in the American Express portfolio are the higher level Delta cards. So let's take a look. Let's take a look at the Delta Platinum card. And that comes in with a $350 annual fee. And you do get some Delta credits that are a part of that and some Delta perks. But Let's take a look at some of their worst credits. They have the $120 rideshare credit. Now that's a $10 a month. It sounds like it's similar to the American Express Gold Cards credit. However, it's only available for Uber rides, not Uber Eats. So this is bad because it's broken down into such small amounts each month, but it's also Uber rides only. So it's not like you're going to be using Uber rides unless you live in a big city every single month. And so, well, that's not going to save a lot of people a lot of money, especially since most of the cities in America rely on cars for transportation. So you probably own one. So you're probably not going to pay extra money to rent one out for a single trip. Now, there's also a $120 Resi credit. This one is $10 a month. Now, this one's a little bit more difficult to get value from than the American Express Gold Card, despite the fact that it has a higher value, right? Just because, well, I don't go to the Resi restaurants in Orlando once a month, and I probably definitely won't. That's one of the reasons why I don't have this card. So you can see that American Express, the coupon book, can get very difficult to get value from. Let's take a look too at some of the other bad offenders. So most of the Hilton cards, the Hilton Business, the Hilton Surpass, have $50 to $60 in statement credits at Hilton properties quarterly. Now, there are a number of YouTubers out there that say that you need to go ahead and get the Hilton gift card, but even if you do that, the website can be down and has been down for quite some time. But also, it's difficult to find a property that will actually reliably use the Hilton gift cards. So if you want to be able to store that value, you pretty much have to go at least 2 to 4 times per year and stay at Hilton properties. So that's kind of difficult to use sometimes. Now let's talk about the personal platinum card as well. It has an insane number of credits, including a highly restrictive airline fee credit and monthly Uber and entertainment credits. Now, some of those credits are easier to get value from than others. Looking at you, Saks credit. But, you can kind of get some value, and I think that's kind of what they're looking at. Like American Express they want you to overestimate your ability to use these credits. And to be fair, a lot of people do kind of overestimate their ability to use these credits, and, well, that's just more money in American Express's pocket. So American Express CEO Steven Squeri announced that they have a plan to continue card refreshes every 4 years. And so if your card hasn't been refreshed in the past 4 years, well, it's probably due for one recently. So that includes the American Express Personal Platinum and the American Express Personal Green Card. They could be due for an upgrade at pretty much any point. We'll find out, and I'll keep you posted as that happens. That means that there's higher fees, usually, increased credits, but the question is, what kind of credits will there be? So the bad aspect of this, the one that doesn't really give us a lot of hope, is that these Delta cards were refreshed recently with increased value, but that increased value came in monthly credits that were very difficult to use. The good, though, the Gold Card gained very usable credits for, well, a lot of people that American Express is targeting. One is pretty open, the Dunkin credit. If you live in a decently sized city, the Resi credit is pretty good for you as well. So, there's a lot of hope. There's also a lot of disappointment with American Express credits. But, honestly, I think the American Express Gold Card is kind of one of the cards that has the most amount of credits that are possible to use for the majority amount of people. Now, if you don't want to pay any annual fees and you don't want to have to deal with credits, is there a dining option for you? And, well, yeah, the American Express, or not the Capital One Saver card has a $0 annual fee, earns 3% back at dining and grocery purchases, as well as entertainment venues. So like bowling alleys and baseball arenas and things like that. You can get the 3% back. And now if you tag that card with any of the venture cards, you can actually transfer that cash back to, well, venture miles. And so you can use that for travel and things like that. And so that has no annual fee. I like to call it the rural American Express Gold Card because, well, if you're not living in a city where you can use the American Express Gold Card credits, then, well, the Saver is going to be your go-to. But if you're able to use a decent amount of those credits, then the American Express Gold Card with 4 points per dollar on dining and grocery purchases, well, that can get you a lot more value. Well, thanks so much for coming with me on this rant. And, well, I can't wait to see you again for next time.